Okay, so I'm on page 9 in our packets, so if you can turn to page 9. And this is the formula for the vertex form of a quadratic function. We're going to be going over the key information. So we already know how to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and the minimum or maximum point. Steps 5 through 8 we're going to be doing a different day. We're going to learn how to find the roots, and we're going to be going over transformations and going from the general form to standard form. So if you can turn to page 10 in your packet, we're going to be taking notes, and this is the example that we're going to be going over. So I know that my A value is the number outside of the parentheses. So my A value is 4. My H value is the opposite of what's in parentheses. So instead of the plus 2, my H value is a negative 2. And my K value is the same as on the outside, which is negative 1. I know my vertex is H comma K. So my vertex is going to be negative 2 comma negative 1. And my axis of symmetry is just the X or the H value. So my axis of symmetry is equal to negative 2. So those are the key points that we have learned. Now I want to go over finding the roots. Now if this is my vertex here, that means I can go over to the left 2 and down 1, and this is my vertex. I know my parabola is pointing upwards because this A value is positive. So I'm just going to do a brief sketch of this graph right here. And my roots is where my quadratic function intersects the x-axis. So these points here where it intersects, that's going to be my roots. And I know that they're going to intersect the x-axis when y is equal to 0. So I'm going to set y equal to 0 and solve for x. So I want to get x alone on this side of the equation. The first thing I'm going to do, this is a subtracting one, so the inverse operation of subtraction is addition. So I'm going to add 1. Sorry about that. So 1 is equal to 4 times the quantity x plus 2 squared. 4 is being multiplied by the x plus 2, so the inverse operation of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide by 4. Now I want to get rid of this square term. I know to get rid of the square term, to cancel it out, I can take the square root of both sides. So these cancel out. And the square root of 1/4. Well, this is the same thing as, I'm going to continue this over here. Square root of 1/4 is the same thing as the square root of 1 over the square root of 4. Because the square term and the square root cancel out, all I have is x plus 2. Now the square root of 1. I know, first of all, the square root of 4. I know 2 times 2 is 4. So the square root of 4 is 2. And this is going to be plus or minus. Square root of 1, I know 1 times 1 is 1. So the square root of 1 is 1. So I have one last step to get x alone. I subtract 2 to both sides. So now I'm going to have two different answers. I'm going to have x is equal to a positive 1/2 minus 2. And I'm going to have x is equal to a negative 1/2 minus 2. I'm going to write this as 2 over 1. Whenever I have a fraction and a whole number, it's easier for me to see. I can multiply whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. I need my denominators to be the same. So this is going to be 1/2 minus 4 over 2. So this gives me a negative 3 over 2. That's one of my solutions. And this is going to be a negative 1/2 minus 4 over 2. That's going to give me a negative 5 over 2. So here, my two solutions, going back to this little crappy graph that I drew, this solution is going to be negative 5 over 2. And this solution is going to be the one that's negative 3 over 2. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the transformations. So, because my k is equal to -1, that means I'm going down 1 on the graph. Because my h is equal to -2, I go to the left 2. My a is equal to 4, so that means I'm going to have a vertical stretch by a factor of 4. And that's it for my transformations. Now to convert from standard form to vertex form. Sorry, vertex form to standard form. Okay, I know that this is the same as saying 4 times x plus 2 times x plus 2. So now I'm going to distribute this 4. So I get 4x plus 8 times x plus 2 minus 1. So now I'm going to distribute these two. So I have 4x squared plus 8x plus 8x plus 16, and then I have this minus 1. So now I'm going to combine like terms. So I have 4x squared plus 16x plus 15. So this is my graph in standard form. Vertex form, standard form. So these are the types of examples that we're going to go over in class tomorrow.